don't want to scare anybody.
We will not be held responsible for any hearing impairments or damage caused to you from excessive exposure to this sound.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of A Tilted World. My name is Derek Tilt. I am your host, and this is a comedy podcast designed to escape the chaos of the universe and just find the happiness in little things. If you are joining us for the very first time, thank you so much and welcome. We're going to have a lot of fun tonight and, just kick back, relax, grab a drink, something, to just escape. All right. So we are on our first, our goal for 2021 is to reach 1,000 subscribers and 1,000 followers on Instagram. So if you're watching this, please subscribe, like, follow, all that fun stuff. But also, our promo is right now, if you like and share our streams and tag us in the stream or in whatever share that you do, you automatically get entered to win free merch from our store. So share our post, tag us in it, and you could win a free t-shirt, sweater, whatever. I'll honestly message you and say, look at our store, tell us what you want. And I would pick the most expensive thing because it's a dope ass sweater. So check out our store, but make sure to share and tag us in it. And don't miss out. All right. So also just again, subscribe, rate, all that fun stuff. We don't know how to get better unless you tell us. So in those comments, let us know how we're doing. If you're listening to the audio and you're on iTunes, please, give us give us some stars, give us a rating. And we don't know how to get better unless you let us know. So this week we have two amazing guests. So we've been trying to work this out for the last few months, almost. Maybe it was 1 or 2 months of us talking back and forth, trying to get something worked out. But because of COVID and just scheduling conflicts, it didn't happen. But they are both hosts of Yeah, We Read It. They are Maggie and Laura. Welcome to the show, guys.
Hello.
So real quick, y'all want to introduce yourselves so everybody knows who you are?
Yeah, I'm Maggie.
And I'm Laura.
And that's
it. We did it.
That's our show.
That's it. So I think the episode's done, and we'll catch you later, Derek.
Yeah, all right. See you later. All right, catch us next week. Make sure to like and follow. But no, thank you guys so much for joining. How long it was? So I think I messaged you guys first. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it was a while ago. I think it was I want to say November, maybe even October. It was a while ago.
It was November or so. I don't know, but I think you guys your page liked one of the things I saw, or you came up. I don't even remember how I found you guys, but I saw you guys popped up, and I was also on podcast forums, trying to find guests, and one of the posts was reach out to other podcasters, see if they'll be on. And I was these funny people, I just saw them, so I'll ask them. I'm glad you guys are here.
We're here. We're so excited.
We are so excited.
Wow. It says a lot about all of us that we just kept even after weeks of just silence being hey, we'd still be down to
Yeah.
Dude, literally, we've rescheduled a couple times.
It's been
let's do this.
I think it's more than 5 times we've rescheduled.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
We tried.
Yeah.
We tried, and we're here now.
But you're finally here. So, and if you enjoy it, you're more than welcome to come back. Always need guests.
We love to come back.
We were just talking about how much fun
we're having so much fun, and we haven't even started the show.
When we were talking backstage. Now we are for context.
So I'm just so excited. Honestly, so for the viewers, this little backstage sneak peek. When I have new people on, I have them come on about 30 minutes or so before we do the show. That way I get to know them and, make sure that they're cool for you guys. And these two chicks are dope and super excited. So tell me a little bit about yourselves. You can pick who goes first. I don't care.
Should I, since I'm Maggie?
Go first, yeah.
Yeah, Maggie, you go first.
Okay, me, I graduated from University of Iowa in 2016, and I do freelance journalism, mostly writing about TV and culture. And then obviously before this was a thing, we did sketch comedy in Chicago, and I'll sometimes do storytelling. But yeah, my thing more than her is doing journalism and more acting, film stuff. Yeah.
And my name's Laura. I'm originally from Ohio, and then I moved to Chicago to do film work, and I still do freelance film stuff, and I'm an actor and comedian and writer, and I also have another podcast without Maggie. But yeah, and that's I just occupies all my time.
Yeah.
And Maggie and I do sketch together still.
And we do. Yeah, we do.
And like I have to keep reminding myself that we do sketch together because it's been a while since we've done sketch.
So that brings me to my first question: is how did you guys meet? Real quick in the comments. 37. So I'm wearing a station shirt for my dad.
Woo!
This is his this year's shirt. Wearing that. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to share with your friends, everybody at the station. So how did you guys meet?
Do you want me to tell the story? I think I tell the story this best.
Yeah, I don't remember details of any.
Wait, hold on. Do you guys have like a scripted story of how you met? Like some
no,
couples
I
do?
just tell it the best.
Laura has the best memory down to. She knows the outfit
I remember what
wearing.
Maggie was wearing when I met them. Like that's how good I am at memorizing things.
So I'll let Laura tell every story.
All right, go for it.
Well, so in 2016, I was finishing up at going into my last year at DePaul. Maggie had just graduated and moved to Chicago. There is a program at Second City through Columbia College, which is an arts college here in Chicago, called Comedy Studies. And they only accept like 12 to 16 people like a term. And so I decided to do the summer term, and Maggie has also signed up for the summer term. And we actually weren't really friends like during this whole Comedy Studies. Like we were like tight with each other, but we weren't like super close or anything. But then kind of after the session ended, everybody else was from out of state. So everybody else kind of just like started like leaving like in the following weeks, and we all had to hang out as groups. And then I lived in Chicago and Maggie had just moved here. And so it was just kind of the both of us. It suddenly sounded like we were hanging out with 5 people, then like 4, then 3. And then it was just like Maggie and I, and we were like, let's just keep hanging out. And then we just like nonstop hung out for like months until like my college friends got back, and then Maggie's other college friends moved to the city, and then we were just like already like, cool, we're best friends now.
Yeah, we hung out nonstop.
Yeah.
We had so many sleepovers and dinner.
Oh my god,
Times.
yeah, we did so much. The first night I think we got like hung out just us. We got sangria at Trader Joe's and cut up like so many apples and just like shoved it in there, and then we had to go to Five Guys the next day because we were so hungover.
Yeah,
it
was really fun.
It was really fun.
Oh my gosh. So if you look at the banner below, people watching, you can check out their Instagram, their joint account. Is that the way to say it? Like, so looking at y'all's Instagrams, it looks like you guys are attached at the hip.
I mean, we live down the hall from each other. Like, we don't live together. I moved into a studio apartment building, and then Maggie and I were like, Maggie, you should move into the studio apartment building. And it was the best idea.
It is like college. Sometimes I will chance it and just go to yours in my underwear being like, is anyone going to catch me in the hall? And it's for adults. You should not act.
I've literally skipped down the hall and just being like, I am disrupting everybody's evening.
Oh, yeah.
That's awesome. Before, so my entire life until like a year ago, not entire life, but when I moved out of my parents' house, obviously moved into a dorm room for 2 years. And then I got out and I joined the Army. And so I lived in a barracks building, which is essentially just dorms. And it was amazing. It was fun. And then about a year and a half ago, I had the opportunity to like move out on my own. And I got an apartment. I had a roommate, and he was awesome. He might be watching, actually. So Ryan, if you're watching.
Better be, Ryan. I swear to freaking gosh.
Hey, Ryan, the roommate.
So, and that was fun. But at the same time, we like lost that like that excitement of like, you know, walking down the hall to your friend's place. You know what I mean? Like unannounced, just banging on the door and being like, what's up, dickhead? What are you doing? Like nothing. All right, we're hanging out, you know?
If Laura's door is unlocked, it is all laws.
Maggie's coming through.
All laws and rules are off. Yep.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, but I missed that. I moved out of that apartment, and when I moved out, I actually had a friend who moved into our apartment building. He was looking at another apartment, but then COVID hit, so he couldn't like really he couldn't really go anywhere. And the apartment that he was looking at,
Ryan thinks you're talking shit about him.
No, I'm not talking shit, Ryan. I love you, Ling Ling. And so anyways, the apartment that he was looking at wasn't hitting him up because of COVID. And so he was like, you know what, fuck it, I'm just gonna move into this apartment. And he got a place, and then one of my other friends moved into his apartment with him. And so it was just like living in the dorms again. I could go downstairs, they could come up whenever they wanted.
So cute.
And then I moved out of that apartment, and now I have a house, which is, it's not as glamorous as it sounds. I have 3 other roommates, which are awesome if they can probably hear me. But I miss that though. Like living like right down the hall from like one of your best friends.
Yeah, no, it's super fun because it's like I lived here for almost a year before. Actually, our other friend, he moved in next door to me, and then Maggie moved in. So then it was like all of a sudden I was like, oh,
I thought I moved in before.
Maybe you did. I forget.
Who knows?
One of those. Who knows? But we have a couple other friends who lived in this building. It's just, it's so nice. Mm-hmm. It's been a nice pandemic because otherwise I think if I lived alone during a pandemic, I would like literally lose my freaking mind.
Yeah, I can
tell. Nice pandemic. That's a dangerous thing to say nowadays.
Yeah, no, I can tell my girlfriend is losing her mind because genuinely yesterday she was like, "What if we did an escape room?" And I was like, No, you're good at them. I get pissed off and just sit and refuse to do anything because I'm so bad at it. Yeah. I hate escape rooms. I'm so bad at them.
Dude, I don't know how I would do in an escape room with a significant other. Like, it'd have to be like really good chemistry. Like, otherwise, I would lose my shit. I'm awful at puzzles. My parents, mom, dad, if y'all are watching, please comment. Y'all normally comment by now. But like they get these murder mystery boxes. Like the
I've been trying to get one of those for us.
Wait, what is that?
It's like it's like a mailing thing. Dad, if you're in the comments, I know you were earlier, put the link in the comments, but they're like literally they get a box every month that is like a murder mystery and you have to solve the mystery and they give you the clues and like the everything for it.
Oh my God, don't encourage me. I will do it with you, but
I almost bought one online. It was just a single box. I wasn't going to get a monthly subscription just because I felt like it'd be a fun thing since it was just like we were hanging out with the same, 4 people over and over again.
Would you have gotten, I feel like you would have gotten a monthly subscription.
No.
Maybe?
No.
So
I don't have that much money. Oh my goodness.
So my parents actually visited me and my old roommate when we lived in our old apartment. And they brought one of the mystery games and my friends came over and we did it and I was awful. Like I had no idea. I was like, oh, these guys are just going to take the reins. Like I have zero. Also, we were drinking too. So like when I drink, like I just I forget things. I don't, I'm like right here.
They're legitimately hard.
Yeah, see, for the murder mystery, the pulling factor for me is like, I just want to pretend to be a character for like an hour. That sounds great to me.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's why I got into Dungeons and Dragons is the role playing aspect. Like I love
play Dungeons and Dragons with them.
That is, I have the shortest attention span.
Have y'all ever played?
Yes, I did it once, and I was asking my friend who was the DM. I was like, "Just make me the coolest character ever." And I was like a dragon and an elf. Which is that illegal? He was like, "We'll bend the rules." I don't know the rules. Hey. And by hour 5, I was over it. I just want to, because it's fun, but I have the shortest attention span.
See, I've never played. I've always wanted to. And then I have like these roommates once that like had like a league and they had like brought it up to me and I'd be like, yeah, I'd love to join. And then they just like didn't let me play with them. And because they're like, well, we have enough people now. And I was like, but okay. And I was like, that's not a thing in Dungeons and Dragons because it was like 4 of them. But yeah, nobody lets me play with them. And they keep being like, we should just like come to a guest spot at our table. And I'm like, yeah, again, I would love to. And then it always just falls through.
Aaron is coming in clutch right now. I will do that. That sounds like fun.
So Aaron's my dad. That's
Hi, Dad.
Yeah.
Hi, Dad. Tilt.
Tilt.
So Dungeons and Dragons is one of my favorite things of all time. And eventually when I get into the industry, I want to host a like Dungeons and Dragons podcast where people can just kind of follow along with the story. Because role playing is so much fun. Like
so much fun.
People think it's a big like dorky thing, a nerdy thing. And yeah, it kind of is, but like for 2 to 5 hours, however long you play, you're just somebody else. Like
yeah, what's not fun
made up,
about that?
It's so much fun. I love it.
Anybody who says that's dorky just doesn't have a personality.
It is genuinely so fun. When I had like more of an income, one of my best friends and I would cosplay at like Comic-Cons, and it is just people genuinely treat you like you are that character, and it's so nice. Like we would do Link and Sheik, or we would do like Raven or
No,
Starfire and Robin. And people are like just genuinely like they say that's your name, and it is really do like cosplaying. It's really fun.
It's all
That
fun.
is so interesting. So I've never been to a Comic-Con, and I honestly didn't really start looking into the cosplay thing until like honestly like right before COVID. And like during COVID it was like winter time, and summer is when all the festivals are happening and stuff. So nothing happened last year, and I was like, man, I really want to see these things and like experience that. But our Comic-Cons like they look awesome. Like,
yeah, they're so fun because people just go balls to the walls with outfits, and some of them will do them on like stilts, and that's God level. I could never do that, but it is really fun, and you end up like spending way too much money. Who would you cosplay if you were to cosplay someone?
Oh man, if I was to cosplay someone. So I'm kind of jealous of this costume because I've been seeing on TikTok a lot of people 3D printing Iron Man costumes.
Wow.
Like,
yes.
Oh man, that would be so like that, or like a legit Spider-Man costume. Like Spider-Man is my all-time favorite hero. If I were to have any kind of superpowers, it would be shooting webs. Like
yeah.
Yeah, you'd be either Spider-Man or Iron Man.
That's cool.
That's good choices. They're both good choices. Yeah, I've been thinking about that. I don't know. I've always wanted to go to a Comic-Con because Maggie and I also do like very elaborate Halloween costumes every year. So it's like I would fit in well at the Comic-Con because I love putting a costume together. But I don't know who I would be. It's a hard one. I'd have to think about it. But I'd pick a good one.
My girlfriend and I wanted to do Halloween. We wanted to do She-Ra, which is like a queer cartoon. It's like
I know She-Ra. Yeah,
I was gonna say because she's related to like the He-Man. I don't know, but I saw it. I didn't know you could like buy things to 3D print, and like it was like you could buy like obviously I don't have a 3D printer, but like you could buy her like sword and her shield to 3D print. I have no idea how any of that would work though.
3D printers are kind of nuts. Like when you think about
wild.
it, they're
so wild.
What an insane concept.
So one of the I forget the name of the subreddit, but I'm always on Reddit, and one of the things like is like a 3D printing thing that I follow, and they always talk about schematics and like blah blah blah, and like what the fuck, like just tell me, like send me the file to print, like, but like 3D printing looks absolutely wild, and they can do some crazy shit with it too, like
yeah.
Sorry,
I had a friend who had a roommate with a 3D printer, and all I remember was one party he made us all little fetus necklaces, so it was like a little baby fetus, and we all wore them around our neck. No time or place or where. There was no consistency to it. It made no sense, but it was pretty fun.
I mean, just having a fetus around your neck, that's kind of funny. I
know. Exactly. Imagine going into a party with that energy.
So what's your favorite cosplay you've done?
Ooh, definitely when we did Sheik and Link, because that Sheik cost me like $500, and I had essentially the same hair, but I had like straight up white hair at the time. Like this is like bleach hair, bleach blonde, and it was like white, so it looked really cool. And there was this moment we went to Comic-Con, and there was this little girl who was Zelda, and she was really scared of my friend Mark because he is not a scary person, but he had like shield and a sword. And I got down on my knees and held out my hands, and she came and put her little hands in my hands, and we got a photo, and that's so cute. Wow, top 10 moment of my life.
Oh my god, I wish I had this TikTok queued up, but it was a TikTok of this little girl who was dressed as BB-8, and she was at Disney World, and she saw Kylo Ren. She saw Kylo Ren, and he was like, playing the character, and then you just hear her voice, and she's like, "I'm a little girl. I'm just in a costume." Fucking, oh my god,
so
like,
cute.
and I see like pictures and posts of Comic-Con all the time, and like it's that kind of stuff where you see like people like meet their heroes,
Yeah.
And it's so dope. Like, I wish I could do that, and maybe someday I will. Who knows?
Yeah, because you can also get like photo shoots. I worked one year, and Sebastian Stan was there, and he just would do anything like any guest asked him, and the photos were really funny. Also, one year Tom Felton, the guy who plays Draco Malfoy, was also doing photos, and some girl came in and was like, brought scissors and was like, "Can you take a photo cutting my hair off?" And it was incredible.
It's so funny.
I don't know if it's online, but I just remember my friend Mark was working, and he was like, it was insane. He was just like, okay.
Yeah. Well, there was this one, oh shit. What? Oh, it was a video. There's a video of a Comic-Con. I don't remember where it was. But they had like a board of all the Lord of the Rings actors, and they were doing like a questionnaire thing, and then oh shit, what's her name? She played Eowyn. Liv Tyler.
Oh, Liv Tyler, yeah.
Yeah, Liv Tyler, they asked her to speak like Elvish, and like she like spoke in the mic and said it, and the whole crowd went insane.
And
it was just like it's like those kind of like experiences, like meeting your heroes and then seeing the actors on stage and asking them questions and stuff.
Yeah.
So real quick, so what got you guys into like comedy, you know, the industry, the entertainment business of, you know, everything, you know, like
well, I moved here for comedy, and then we just started doing it together, and that was like so much easier to do it with someone, because it's very scary when you're in a big city all alone to like I would love to do stand-up like you. I think that's so admirable. I would be so stressed.
Don't say admiral, because I've done it like less than 20 times, and
that's more than both of us put together.
I am in no way, shape, or form a stand-up comic. Like I've gone up a few times and said some things. You've
done it. That's so impressive. But it's definitely nicer, having someone. I always wanted to do comedy, and then I was also like, I should work on my career in journalism for a bit. So then I started doing that a bit more.
Yeah.
We still do comedy.
Yeah, no, that's how I always was. Like growing up, I always wanted to do like performance and comedy, but I was like the shyest kid in the world, and I like never thought I could. And then I like got to like college, and I was like, I need to like do this. Like I think I moved to Chicago like knowing I wanted to do film and like hopefully start performing, and just like I need to just get over my nerves first. And then like when I started just taking classes, and I was like, okay, cool, I know I can do this. So and then I met Maggie, and then we've just been tight ever since.
Yeah.
So so have either of you done stand up?
Well, God, I've tried, and it is scary, but I also think, I don't know, my anxiety does not let me take a breath. It's actually pretty impressive. If you want to see someone not breathe for 3 minutes on stage, that's me.
The only time I did stand up was
and then you think I'm taking a breath, but really I'm disassociating, and then I come back into my body and I keep speaking.
No, the only time I did stand up was like we had a stand up unit in comedy studies, and like for like the project we had to do like a 5-minute set. And I hated it. Like I did not have fun. Like I was so stressed out because I was just like, this isn't fun. Like I don't like
I don't know. Oh, I did do stand up for that, but all I remember was one week I brought every sweater.
That was for the vaudeville week.
Oh, I brought every sweater in my closet, and I just put every single one on. And then I had something under people's shirts. I don't remember.
For that, I did the one woman show of every movie Lindsay Lohan has been in.
Yeah, it was pretty impressive. Terrifying, but impressive.
Dude, 5 minutes though, that's a long time. Like, so the open mics that I've done, like you get 2 minutes or 3 minutes, and that's it.
That's
like
beautiful.
I feel like in Chicago, I think it's usually about 5.
That sounds so like 5 minutes there's a lot you can fit in 5 minutes, and it feels like an eternity.
Oh my God, it's so true. It's like if you embarrass yourself on stage, that moment lives on in a pocket of time forever, where you are just suspended in that moment, suffering in hell. I genuinely believe that, and that's stand up.
I have honestly, like I said, like I'm just I did open mics pre-COVID. Like I did my occasional. I had like 2 5-minute sets. I think I did, and it was at a dive bar, and I want to say there were 5 people in the crowd, and it was at happy hour. So it was like 4:00 in the afternoon, and I had 5 minutes, and it was awful. Like no one was paying attention. I was just in this dive bar, just talking my head off, you know. But I've made it like one of the big clubs, one of the big like open mic spots here in DC is the Comedy Loft. or the Beer Baron.
Okay.
And I've made an ass of myself so much because like I have like pre-stage like anxiety super bad. Like I'll look at my notes for like the 3 hours before I get on stage, and then I'll get on there and just be like like
Yeah.
that kind of like anxiety. I don't know if I assume someday it goes away, but
Honestly, for mine got better. Like I have to sometimes when we're doing like a lot of new stuff, I like feel like I have to pee a ton before.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I used to get so nervous, like I don't know my lines, and then like it got to a point where I was like, even if I don't know my lines, like I don't give a shit.
It did get easier being like don't have to know all of my lines because we will do variety shows where those are the ones I'd never stress about. But when we had like 4 shows at Second City that was just we had written like an hour worth of material, and those were the ones that I would pee all the time for because I was so stressed out.
Did you say Second City?
Yeah.
Oh no shit. Oh man. I wish like a lot of my podcasts I listen to are comics. And they talk about Second City in Chicago, and I'm like I wish I was in the comedy scene while I was in Chicago. Like
well, like the comedy scene here is so big, but I think like the weirdest thing is like realizing how different it's gonna look like when things start reopening again, because it's like already it's changed so much. Like we performed at mostly like smaller theaters that are like a few have closed, a few are like trying to stay afloat, some are trying to like hopefully like do things online, and so it's just been like such a weird thing right now where I'm just like, what is Chicago comedy gonna look like?
It's gonna be a weird thing when everything kind of gets back to a quote unquote normal, especially for like comedy and stand up and sketch comedy, improv, all that kind of shit where you're performing for a crowded room. It's gonna be super interesting to see how it changes. And one of the things that I'm like banking on is like I'm still grinding, I'm still writing, and when it comes back on, like I'm gonna hit it hard as fuck. Because this whole thing is gonna like weed out the people who it was like a thing for a little while, you know what I mean? Like and I'm excited, like once things hit, like let's go. Like
it's also gonna like for me I feel like hella equalize the playing field where there's like a hierarchy everywhere. But and there's still gonna be that, but they're gonna also be rusty. And that will be less stressful.
That's what I'm saying too, is like I like the few months that I was doing like open mics and stuff, there was a hierarchy even in the open mic industry of like these people that are like regulars, and climb the little step ladder that we had. But like when everything comes back to normal, it's going to be an even playing field. Everybody's rusty. Even the guys who are great and have great material, their shit's going to be outdated. They're not going to.
Nobody wants to watch like a set about what you didn't do anything during a pandemic. Like that's not an original thought anymore or at all. Like
I've
been trying to put every intrusive thought down in a notebook because I'm realizing I have a lot of anxiety about small things. I have one where my base anxiety is I don't want to like front face cuddle my girlfriend because I think we'll suck all of the oxygen out of each other's body.
Breathing in each other.
No, my therapist actually told me to start doing that. She's like, set aside 5-10 minutes and write every intrusive, anxious, worry thought that you have just in a list. List it out, and then that's like you have a set aside time to panic about things. And I was like, that's so great. I'm gonna start doing that.
That is nice.
Yeah, that's what I've been doing.
I was so much better about writing pre-pandemic.
Right?
Yes.
Oh my God, yes.
I have that's not right here, but I have like a little like flip book, like a little notebook, that I would always, it was always in my pocket, and I would think about something, I'd write it down, and I'd, every time I thought about something or a bit or whatever, I'd write it down. And now it's like, I just sit in my room and I'm like, and I'll be watching something. I'll be like, oh, that's funny. I should write that down. And I'm like, oh, I'll write it down later.
I've been doing the exact same thing. Like I used to be so on it of just being like, oh, this is a funny idea, I'm going to write it down. And then I would like revisit it and be like, okay, I'm turning this into this sketch or this other thing. And during this pandemic, it's like very seldomly do I have like okay, I'm going to write that down on like my little phone notepad. And then I just don't touch it.
Yeah.
I just don't even touch it. It's just there. And I've like scrolled through being like, wow, there's a lot of stuff I could do stuff with. And then I just like turn on another episode of Outlander and I'm like,
my God.
what? Here we are.
That is so true. It is so, it's so hard to like write right now. And my problem is I don't have the attention span for it at all.
Yeah.
But yeah, mostly just the attention span. Or I'll like start it and I'm like, what's the point?
I know. All right. I like start things and I go, this is bad. I don't want to finish it. And I'm like, but
I know.
you can just write something that's bad.
Yeah.
That's okay too.
One of the biggest things that I've like noticed, like with my writing, at least when I like write bits or jokes down, I'll like look back at them, like to like go over them, and I'm like, oh shit, that's fucking outdated. Like so much has been happening. It's like it doesn't make sense anymore. Like that joke would have been funny 6 months ago.
Yeah.
Now this is just a reality, you know,
Right?
like.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah, that's also very true.
I also don't want to be negative. I'm not the most negative. I'm a pretty negative
But
person.
the record show there are more negative people
There are
than
more
Maggie
negative
in the
people.
world.
I would say I'm in the 20%. If I took a BuzzFeed quiz, they'd be like, oh, you're pretty mellow. Is that melancholy? That's what I'm thinking of.
That's like
No,
depressed.
melancholy means sad, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That would be me.
Maggie's like sad negative, not like super negative. On the scale of negative.
I'm sad negative, but make it cute.
Yeah.
Out of both of y'all, who's the more negative person?
It's definitely me.
Yeah, it's gotta be Meg.
Oh, for sure.
It was no, Maggie though. You said you're like, I'm not the most negative, and then like you looked over, and I was like, oh, who?
Oh, I meant most negative in general, like in a world sense.
In this group, yes.
Yes.
In our friend group, probably. In most of the people we know, absolutely.
You pick 20 people in the world, not Maggie wouldn't be. Out of those 20 people, there would be a more negative person in that group of randomly selected 20.
Where I'm getting at is no one wants to hear negative jokes right now. It's like positive, and it's like, okay, well, how do I change my entire personality?
Dude, writing jokes in the pandemic is so difficult. And I thought one day like the masked thing, and I like wrote down like a joke about like, oh, you go on a date with a girl or a guy and they have a mask on, and then you meet them in person, they take the mask off. You know, they're not as attractive as you thought.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, like I was working on that. And then I was like watching, I was like on YouTube or something. And then a couple comedians were like, yeah, when you take your mask off, you're more ugly than when you have it on. And I'm like, fuck. Like that.
Yeah. There's only so many mask jokes you can make. Like,
I'm just upset because no one can see me seductively lick my lips on the street.
I love it because I can now lip sync to songs that I'm listening to and nobody knows. It's my favorite. I love it.
See, that's positive.
I don't want masks to go away now because I'm like, now I'm constantly vibing when I go on my like hour-long walks around my neighborhood.
You can tell Laura is the positive one. That is actually a really good way of looking at it.
That's the thing. Also in the winter, it doesn't make you as cold as quick because your entire face is covered.
That's my favorite thing.
God.
Yeah. Like you
That's
walk
so
around.
I was like, why didn't we do this sooner, y'all? This was a good idea.
That is true.
I will tell you right now, when I was living in Chicago, I'm from Texas, so like moving to Chicago, and
for
the 2 years that I was there, it was the winter of 13 to 14 and then 14 to 15.
That was my first winter in Chicago.
Those winters were brutal.
They
like
were so bad.
At
Oh
the
my
time,
God.
like they were like the worst winters that they had.
Yeah, those
and
polar vortexes.
they were awful. And we had a friend on my freshman year, and he did the same thing sophomore year. Our freshman year, we had a guy in our dorm, like on our floor, excuse me, that wore like he just wore like a wind mask like on his face. And we would like, go, to and from other dorms or to the rec center or whatever. And then he would like take his mask off and he looked fine, but everybody else was like all red and like like dry. And we were like, oh God, that guy's weird for wearing a mask.
Yeah, it's
That's
like how
so
lame,
funny.
right?
I get
like,
weirdly competitive
now,
about
like-
winter.
What's that?
'Cause I said I get weirdly competitive about winter because Iowa. I always assume Iowa is the cold. This is fact. Iowa is the coldest place. And in winter 2013, I remember I opened like the outside screen door to a first level balcony like porch thing that my boyfriend had at the time, and there was a coyote froze into the railing. And then last year was the polar vortex here. 2 years ago. 2 years ago, we had a polar vortex in Chicago, and it was also happening in Iowa. And a student on my campus literally froze to death walking home from the library.
It was bad.
You're like dead?
Yeah, dead. I
Super
swear to
dead.
God, Iowa is the coldest place. If you get hella drunk in the winter and you pass out somewhere, and it's like, they're like, okay, stay indoors tonight, you will probably have to get a limb taken off.
Yeah.
Because it will freeze. I don't know. That's like actually a thing. I think I was crazy.
So one of the polar vortexes that I was living in Chicago for, is it a polar vortex? Is that?
Yeah,
was-
the polar
it was-
vortex was in 2013, 2014. That was my first winter here too.
Literally, it was like -40 wind chill.
Yeah, it was -40 wind
yeah.
chill.
And
Oh, God.
so that year, one of the guys on my floor went to a party it was the baseball house. We had a small school. It wasn't a frat house. It was the baseball house. He went there, but he was on his way back, and it was they still had their Halloween decorations up. So this inflated spider was like on the lawn, and he was drunk as fuck. And we heard about this the next day. I wasn't there, but he was like freaked out about it, and like he basically like fell over, passed out in the snow for a minute, and then woke up the next day. He was in the dorm, luckily. But if he had just like been so blacked out that he had fallen in the snow, he probably would have been dead. Like,
oh my God,
Yeah.
that's
It's,
so insane.
it was bad.
Where did you guys go to school? I know Laura, you said DePaul, right, in
Mhm.
Chicago, and then
Mhm.
Maggie, where'd you go?
I went to University of Iowa.
UI.
Yeah, UI. Iowa all the way, baby. Born and raised. I love Iowa.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Hey, quick reminder, everybody watching, if it's your first time, thank you for joining us. If you share and tag us, you can win some merch. So make sure to do that. So I'm gonna move on to my next question for you guys. You guys have a podcast called Yeah, We Read It. You want to tell me a little bit about that?
Okay, the podcast kind of was always this started as like a bit. Maggie and I feel like we were drinking one night, and I was like, Maggie, picture this. It's a podcast, but all we do is read young adult novels from our childhood.
Mhm.
We were always just like, yeah, that'd be a fun idea for a podcast, but we were always too busy to like put in the time for a podcast.
Yeah.
And then like last year, like pandemic, like our friend Justin, he had a podcast at a theater that actually had closed down, and he was like, well, my podcast is doing really well, and I'm just gonna kind of start my own podcast network. And he like reached out to us being like, if you guys like have ever had an idea for a podcast, like I would love to host you guys. And I texted Maggie being like, you know that one podcast idea we talked about 3 years ago? We
Is that
could like
the Social Podcast Network?
yeah.
Okay. I noticed that on your, and when I screenshotted y'all's picture,
Mhm.
I made sure not to crop that out. Okay, just make sure.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
And so we kind of like talked about it, just being like, well, we're not doing like anything else creative right now. Like maybe like a podcast can like help us kind of like at least have some sort of like schedule or thing to look forward to. So we kind of started from there, and we're trucking along first season.
It has been so nice. This is our first season. When I talked to my dad about this, he was like, "Oh, I remember the books, but it is the Click series."
Yeah, if you remember seeing this cover ever in like middle
by
school.
Lacey Harrison. I don't know if you did. Again, a very girl thing, but
It's very much
it's
a
very
girl
catty.
thing.
And my dad surprisingly remembered it. I was like, "Oh, it was the plaid one." He was like, "Oh, the Click," and I was like, "This is embarrassing that you know this for me."
So you
for
know
my-
that he probably has been reading them like on the side.
yeah.
He
Oh,
probably
for
saw
sure.
and he's like, "Oh, that looks kind of interesting. I'll check it out."
Yeah, for you to know right away is scary.
Yeah.
I hope not. He also tried to give me Atlas Shrugged when I came home. He was like, "Oh, you'll love this book," because I read a lot of political books, and I'm like, "Well,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. This is a big one to waste time on."
Well, that's cool. So you guys are 9 episodes in to your
Yeah.
first season. So how y'all post regularly? Like how
We are every other Wednesday.
Yes. Yep. Because we need
We need time to read a book, you know?
a buffer, and these ones are small, but like for the next season that we have up, they're like big books.
Yeah.
They're big young adult books. So
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're every other Wednesday.
Mhm.
Yeah, and we're a few episodes like logged behind, so we should be done with this first season probably like by end of February. Yeah.
And then we're gonna start a new series that I honestly am more excited.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm just excited. It's so fun rereading these books, like as 20-something.
Have you all announced the book yet, or?
No.
Well, kind of.
Yeah.
We can.
I mean,
Do you want to grab it? It's sitting right there.
Yeah, it is.
I have my entire stack of Yeah, We Read It books just on my windowsill.
Once again, big girl one, but we are doing the Uglies.
The Uglies trilogy. This was one of my favorites when I was in middle school, so
Yeah.
we're excited about that trilogy.
We're doing Laura's favorite first, then hopefully for season 3, my favorite, because
Yeah.
I love Pretty Little Liars.
Yeah, so we're crossing our fingers.
Crossing our
Cross our fingers.
Hold on. Pretty Little Liars was a book.
Oh my God, you didn't know that?
Yeah.
No, I didn't know. I thought that was just
Yeah,
a
that was
girl-
based off of a book.
I thought that was a girl movie.
There's like, there's
I
like
didn't-
16 of them. That's how many
They're-
books there are.
And
for
they're
Pretty Little
like, they're
Liars.
thick, so that's gonna be a hard one.
Yeah,
But
we'll look at it.
it's like the most ridiculous series. You can tell they didn't think it out.
That's a whole other show for that.
Yeah.
God damn,
I know.
It's fucking wild.
Yeah, I watched the show too. It's in line with the book. None of it makes sense. You can tell that this was just they started it and there was no end journey.
Well, that's kind of how the show worked out too.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And honestly, that's kind of beautiful that they translated that into film so well.
I know. That is great book.
So
to be
Aaron
adaptation.
commented, I busted a big burly fireman I used to work with reading Twilight once. Not gonna talk shit about that because I read the first book and a half of Twilight in middle school to impress a girl.
See, I read the first book of Twilight in middle school because like all of my friends were like buzzing about it, and I was like, oh my God, yeah, I love a new book. Like I'm so excited, and I hated it. I hated it so much.
I love Twilight. I
Yeah.
stand by Twilight. I've seen the first movie so many times. When I was in middle school, I try to play it back in my head as a method of falling asleep. And I thought I was so cool in high school because everyone liked Harry Potter. And yes, I read that twice, but I was like, I love Twilight. Sorry.
Yeah, Twilight wasn't an original thing in my middle school. Everyone loved it. If you loved Harry Potter, you loved Twilight. Like that was it.
Hell yeah. We aren't
I'll tell you
original.
right now, when I read Twilight, I kept that shit under my pillow. Like nobody knew. Like I didn't want anybody to know. I just wanted to be able. Like it was middle school. It was like my 7th grade girlfriend. I was like, I have to know these references. I gotta, impress her. And
That's
she
okay,
knew.
yeah.
Nobody else knew.
That's so funny. Honestly, it's a commitment though. That is a 500-page book. Like, damn, I've never had a guy get a 500-page book for me. So
I was like before the train that I went to the Eclipse book midnight party at Barnes and Noble, and there was only like 14 people there. And I also thought that the DVD release was like going to be a long line, so I made all of my friends go an hour early, and we had to sit on the floor because we were like, we're here so early, no one went.
What's
to
the
buy
name of the
the
last book? New Moon?
Breaking Dawn is the last one.
Mhm.
Breaking Dawn. Okay, so the worst date I've ever been on in my life was to that movie.
That's so
Yeah.
funny. I've only
Yeah.
seen the first 3 Twilight movies, and they were all in quarantine.
Yeah, and I felt bad because I kept talking up Jasper Cullen.
Maggie and our friend were like, "You guys, the third movie's the best, like, because Jasper's such a cool character." And then we find out that like Jasper was a Confederate soldier, and they were like, "Why did we not remember that? Oh my God!" And I was like, "Y'all are talking about a Confederate soldier," and they're like, "No."
Yeah, that was the biggest vibe check of my life.
It was
That's
so fucking funny.
I remember that. I remember that date very well because
Yeah,
it
what
was
happened? What
honestly.
happened at Breaking Dawn?
So
Yes.
I was a lifeguard at the time. It was the summer of my junior year of high school. So was it 2012, 13? So I was a lifeguard, and this girl lived in my neighborhood. We also went to high school together, and she was hot as fuck. So I was like, oh, like I'll ask you out. And we went on a date. We go see the movie, right? And we're in high school, and we're like just watching the movie. Nothing happens. I try to make a move. I think I put my arm around her. Don't remember.
Nice.
But we're like, she was super quiet at the time. Now not so much. She's a bartender, and she's like, oh, come check me out. But at the time it was super quiet, whatever. But we were driving back home, and I was going to drop her off. It was the middle of the afternoon, and she just started crying, like in my car. Like I'm driving, and she was just sitting there crying, and like I didn't know what to do. I was like, "Fuck!" Like nothing had happened on the date. Like I didn't kiss her, nothing. Like we were just driving, and like she started crying. I was like, "Fuck!" Like I don't know. I told her, said, "Hey, if you want to go out again, let me know." And she was like, "Okay." And she left. But I don't know what the fuck happened. Like maybe I did something wrong. But
Oh God.
Maybe she was just sad. I don't know.
Maybe
also like we were teenagers. Who knows what
That's
the fuck
fair.
was going on?
It's true. Hormones are wild when you're a teen.
I was like just so nervous of my friends were like, hooking up, things like that. I had this boyfriend and I was so nervous of doing anything with him that like we went to the Social Network, went to Pirates of the Caribbean 4, and I do this thing where I'd get so nervous he'd put his arm around me or hold my hand that I would just pretend fall asleep for 2 hours. And I would watch the movie out of like the eye that was on the opposite side of him. And I just like I can't
all I picture is it's happening.
I'm not kidding. When this title sequence started, I was like out, but I wasn't. I was so.
Do you
scared.
think his like mom? He got home to his mom, and she'd be like, "Hey, honey, how was the date with Maggie?" And he's gonna be like, "She fell asleep again."
Oh, sleep.
I think probably. I was so nervous he was gonna try to kiss me. I was so stressed. And then my second boyfriend, I would always make come over and watch the weirdest anime, and I would not touch him.
That's awesome.
High school dating stressed me out.
Oh yeah,
dating was the worst.
It was awful.
Dating in your 20s is also probably second to the worst.
It's more destructive.
It is more traumatizing.
Traumatizing, destructive.
Yeah.
I was gonna try to come up with a third word, but I was like, that really just sums it up.
It is fun to put all of my emotional weight on someone else and then try to have them fix it for a little bit and then get therapy later in my 20s. But
yeah, it's really fun dating someone who just really brings out the worst in you.
It is true.
I've done that so much where I'm just like, that person just really just brought out the worst traits in me.
Oh my god.
Because the guys suck. Oh my god.
My exes.
They're the worst.
I'm like good with my ex, my friends. My exes are my friends now, and it's like fine. But we will do not as much, but like we would do things where it'd be like, oh, remember this time, and we would doing bits where it was remembering the worst times. And then at some point we'd have to draw a line. We'd be like, wait, this isn't fun. We got to stop doing that. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know why we started this.
This is getting kind of real.
It's like, wait, okay, this is bringing up some things we didn't need to touch.
Before I switched over to doing this, like doing live streams and stuff, I would record episodes anytime anybody was over at my apartment. I'd be like, all right, we're having great talks. Let's fucking talk it out. And we would like the number of times that I've had conversations with my friends or like people, and it just like it got heated for no reason. Like, if I don't agree with you, whatever. But like, two, like if they just did something like just triggered me, I'd be like, and then I would listen back to the audio and be like, oh my god, I was sounding like a douchebag. I was getting super aggressive. Like I can't post that,
Yeah. You gotta cut it out.
Yeah.
Cut it out.
So real quick, last question for you guys. So do you guys have anything like any ongoing projects that you want to plug?
Do we?
Do
we? Let's go down the list here. First of all, again, yeah, we read it, our podcast. Anywhere you listen to podcasts, you can find that. Also, our Instagram at Maggie_and_Laura. It's been below us here. Follow us there. We have other social medias, but that like is the main one we post on is Maggie and Laura.
Quick, oh shit, what was I gonna ask? I forgot. Maggie and Laura. We read it. So, are you available? Like, what are you available on? Spotify,
iTunes. We're on iHeartRadio. We're on Spreaker. I don't know how to say that one, but we're on that as well. If you Google "Yeah, we read it," if you put it into anything, you will find it. Honestly.
Yeah, and even if you're like, you know what, the podcasts are long. maybe just throw us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts.
Crazy. If you have an
Exactly.
iPhone, you can just take it out right now, type in the search bar, Yeah, we read it, and just hand us a 5-star review.
Yes.
We'd love you forever.
I have a genius idea, which is hard because we have studios. If you want it if you have podcasts, but I want to throw a party between the two of us where to get into the party, you have to give us 5 stars.
That's a good idea.
Is that not a good idea?
That's a good idea. I haven't even thought of that. If you're listening, go check out Yeah, We Read It on iTunes. Give them some stars. Give them a review. Reviews reviews make the world of a difference. One, they give us them affirmation, and it also tells us how to get better.
It's true. That's how. Yeah.
We want to know. We want to know what you like, what you don't like.
That's how my favorite podcast, Last Podcast on the Left, got big because
the last podcast on the left. Oh,
I love it so much, but
I am not caught up, but I love them.
That's okay. Henry would steal, or he said he steals, but he would steal people's phones in bars and just give them 5 stars, which I'm like, hell yeah.
That's
good move. Good move.
Yeah.
They just had a crazy series on this this one guy who I'm gonna look it up. I don't know if you've listened to it yet, but it's like a 3-part series, and it's this guy who would use like black magic to like kill people and control the Mexican cartel.
Okay, I gotta listen. The last series that I heard, and this was like a year ago, they got me into, like, they were one of the people who got me into podcasting because I was listening to them. I was like, oh shit, that's pretty dope. But
Really
they did like a 5-part series on like executions in America and like the different styles that they used.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Maybe not America. Yeah. This was like a year ago. This is a while. I know they put out way more since then, but it was like execution styles, and it was like a 4 or 5-part series where they talked about shit in like Europe, and then they moved over into America. And when they got to America, it was like a 3-part series for America because they had a whole episode on the different ways to hang people, and it was like you picture like the normal news.
Yeah.
And they like talk about inventions where like these executioners were like having to hang people, like they had to hang, X amount of people, and they'd have to hang like 20 people at one time, and they had to come up with inventions of how to do it, and it was absurd. Like,
God damn,
the death penalty is so insane. There was also this one podcast I listened to of this woman here, and she was like trying to stop lethal injection. So like we outsource it from obviously like different countries. And I don't remember which one, but like it was illegal in this one country. So she figured out where the source was, and she was like told the government, and they were like, oh, okay, you can't outsource to America anymore. And for a bit, our government was so mad at this woman that like they had a hit out on her. But also during this time, like Utah wasn't having any ability to carry out the death sentence. So they were like, oh, well, we'll just kill prisoners by firing squad. I don't really know how that was passed. But then all of a sudden, people were like pissed off at the death penalty, which is like, I mean, honestly, more of kind of a humane way to kill them, maybe. I don't really know. But it's like,
I've never died before.
I don't know. Yeah, I've never died before. I don't know how.
Yeah, I can't comment on what the best
way to go out. I actually. So real quick, here's a quick story about my first the first unit that I went to in the military. First unit I was a part of, we worked with the infantry. So I was a medic for a bunch of infantrymen, and then my like senior medic, like the highest medic that was in charge of us, my first day, he asked us, he goes, how do you want to die? And like we're all brand new, and we're like 19, 20 at the time. And we were like, I don't know. And we like gave him an answer, and he was fucking psycho. He was a part of like the initial invasion in like 2001, 2002. Psycho dude.
Yeah.
And,
that's heavy.
And we would tell him our answer, and they would pull us into the office, and he goes, you know how I want to die? And we're like, no. He goes, I'm gonna go out in a rain of bullets falling from a helicopter, like super like extra shit. And you're like, oh fuck. Yeah. Like, okay. Jesus. Like fucking
this man
crazy.
Sounds like Lieutenant Dan from Force Gump, where you get like pulled off and he's like, why didn't you let me die?
But anyways, so we're gonna end this stream real quick. If you guys can stay on for a second, I'm gonna take you off for a minute, do my ending thing, and then we'll talk after the show just to
Hell yeah.
Nice.
hash
Okay.
it out. All right, so you guys want to say bye?
Yeah, we
Yay!
do. Goodbye, everybody.
This was so
We had so
fun.
much fun.
I had a great time.
This was fun. I had a blast.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right.
Thanks for having us, Derek.
Thank you for having us.
Of course, anytime. All right, everybody. So thank you so much for joining us once again. We are on the race to 1K. So our goal for this year, at the end of this year, we want to have 1,000 followers. So make sure to share, like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. And tag us. If you tag us and share it, we will throw you in for the raffle for free merch that you can get on our website at atiltedworld.com. Make sure to check the link in the description to find Maggie and Laura. They got a bunch of stuff going on and an amazing podcast. So make sure you hit that link. So thank you for listening. Thank you for joining us. And we will see you next week.